Good morning. My name is Reverend Rick Carney, and I'm the Associate Minister at the Center for Spiritual Living, Tahoe-Truckee. I welcome you today to our Sunday service. It's a joy to uh, be here with you today. Our Senior Minister, Reverend Pam, is taking a well-deserved day off today. And though she's here with me, I'm sure that her presence will be one that adds to our service. Our center's purpose is love. Our vision is embracing all while awakening to the one. Whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. We know that there are many paths to God, and we recognize that all paths end in oneness and in love. And so we are grateful that each of you is here with us this morning. We begin our service each Sunday with a receptivity statement. And I'll get that up on the screen. Please read along as I speak the words. I am here by divine appointment. Something I'm about to hear applies to my life. I am open, receptive, and willing to explore the possibilities. So it is. Our guest musician today is Colleen Akiko. Now, each of us has our special gift, through which Spirit speaks to the world. For Colleen, it's her music, with her voice, her piano, and all the many ways that she shares her gifts with us. Whether it's sharing her original songs, her passionate delivery of other people's songs that speak to her and to us, or just accompanying us as we sing along, we are blessed to have her as our musician. Please help me to welcome Colleen Akiko.
Thank you so much. This is a fresh one, and I thought I was going to be able to have it on a video for you, but kind of had a technical earthquake yesterday, and everything went so you get the live version. And it's a song that just calls us into remembering. Why do we show up? Why do we come into the stillness? And how? How do we come? For the highest good, for the deepest love, for the truest knowing, like a child I come. In the warming light, in the healing life, remembering why I am here, breathing in one presence, here, singing with my soul, here, being with one essence, here above, here below, here above, here below. For the highest good, for the deepest love, for the truest knowing, like a child I come. For the warming light, in the healing life, remembering why I am here, breathing in one presence, here, singing with my soul, here, being below. For the highest good, for the deepest love, for the truest knowing, like a child I come in the warming light, in the healing life, remembering why I am here, breathing in one presence, here singing with my soul, here being with one essence, here above, here below, here above, here below, here above, here below.
Thank you, Colleen. That was so lovely. Oh my gosh, takes my breath away. Um, our practitioner of the day is Nancy O'Neill. Now she's a lady who needs no introduction. She is our senior most practitioner uh, within the CSL Tahoe-Truckee. And she has recently returned from a trip seeing her grandchild. But she now has company at her house. So, Nancy, do you ever sit still? Join me in welcoming Nancy, please.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Rick. So if you'll just join me in an opening prayer by just taking in some deep breaths, the deep breath that really connects us to each other right here on our computer screens. And that deep breath that connects us to life, this holy life that we're living, this sacred life that we're living. And so just this morning, I just begin in gratitude, as Jesus always did. And in gratitude for this Holy Week that we are embarking on, beginning today with Palm Sunday. And just when we think of this week, the chaos that ended in new beginnings and resurrection. And so, in knowing that, in gratitude for Reverend Rick being here today, in gratitude for all of you, in gratitude for our spiritual center, and just in knowing that this service today just unfolds perfectly and that we take from it whatever it is that we're needing at this time on our spiritual path, whatever it is at this time that we need to move our lives along, or to just check in and see, is this is this how I want to be living today? And so just in this present moment, this beautiful moment, I just allow all of that to be so, as we say together, and so it is. So this morning, I'm reading a piece on vision that actually comes from unity, but the theme for March has been about open to possibilities. And today, Rick is going to be speaking about commit to transformation. So when I think about open to possibilities, I think about visioning. So I hold in mind thoughts, words, or events that affirm my goals. I envision my life as I want it to be. So I have been given a great gift, the ability to envision and create the life I want. My power of imagination allows me to picture my goals as already achieved, my challenges as already overcome. I see with my mind's eye what I want most and begin to manifest it with the guidance of spirit. As I envision, my dream becomes reality. I also imagine the feelings it will bring: elation, relief, satisfaction, or peace. I pray with these thoughts and feelings in mind, and I hold to them despite any outer appearances or inner doubts. God guides me to my highest good. My faith is renewed as my good comes into manifestation. So from Ephesians 3:20, now to him, by the power at work within us, is able to accomplish abundantly far more than all we can ask or imagine. To him be glory. So I just asked Colleen to come back for another song.
Thank you. This song is called The Almost Land. And it's autobiographical, but I'm sure there'll be similar notes in others' lives. And it's about that feeling of kind of knowing how it should be, how it really is, but not quite living in that experience, or so it seems. In the almost land, I am brave and wise and beautiful. My mind is trying to believe. The soul I see inside is me. And then emotion is unleashed like a hungry storm, raising mountains from a starving sea, while I sit alone and right inside a palace safe and warm in the almost land. I almost understand what flows here from my hand. In the almost land, the missile from behind struck close. I felt its power rushing by. The impact burst all reasoning. Why? Anger goes unleashed in nightmare fear against the shield that is me, who soon becomes a crying heart for doubts to be held near. In the almost land, I almost understand the life within my hands. In the almost land, will I like Moses stand? Almost in that promised land. Oh, the promised land. In the almost land, my years all gather round me with stories of what could have been, as if they are my secret friends. And then sorrow is released in wordless heaves. I wail above their whispers and drown their damning rebel force until I am free in the almost land. I come to understand what speaks beyond my hands. In the almost land, in the almost land, in the almost land, I am brave and wise and beautiful. Now my eyes have learned to see the soul I love so much is me. In the almost land, I finally understand. I promised land. I am the promised land. In the almost land.
Oh, thank you so, Colleen. Beautiful music to set the tone, to set the tone for our talk today. The talk today has the title of committing to transformation. And when we do that, of course, when we do that, we go through changes. And this is the fourth in the series of talks that we've had this month about visioning, especially the idea of visioning to come to a greater sense of awareness to our divine connection. In the first week, Reverend Pam spoke to living in the question, the willingness to open ourselves up to God and ask the question and be willing to accept what comes through the process of visioning in the form of inspiration. In the second week, release and let go, she spoke of being able to let go of our preconceived ideas and attitudes on how things should be, and to let go of the ways of thinking that have been holding us back, the fears and the anxieties, perhaps, that have been impeding the flow of communication between the divine and ourselves. In the third week, with wide open arms, we take in the idea of this vision. We accept and interpret that it may not be what we had wanted to hear. It might, in fact, be something very different. But with open arms, we acknowledge that the divine inspiration is being imparted to us, and that we have the choice of taking action or not. So this week is about committing to transformation. Now, we have lots of experience within our community of working with visioning. Many of us have been part of the visioning process for finding a new minister. We have been part of the visioning process for revisiting our purpose and mission, and how do we get from good to great. But this method of visioning has been rather focused on getting the divine input on a question or a topic very specific in mind. But there is another form of visioning. There is another way of visioning, the visioning that allows us to not need a question be answered, but to grow in our consciousness, to grow in our spiritual truth. The minister within the movement who has been most productive, I guess, in this way has been Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith. He's the founder of the Agape Center and has been the author of many books about visioning. And in his book called Life Visioning, he says this: the purpose of visioning is not simply about the narrow confines of personal fulfillment. It is an expansion of consciousness into the realization of your true self. And by that, he means visioning is, in fact, more than simply getting your questions answered or needs met, but it's a way of bringing forth a greater connection with the divine and a greater recognition of the divine that lies within us. We know in the science of mind that the spirit is part of us as we are part of it, that it is the all in all of which we are individualized expressions, and that within us lies a divine spark, that spark of life, that spark of intelligence, that spark of divine inspiration that takes us from the mundane into something much, much bigger and much better. When we allow that to happen, we grow ever closer to living within the divine as the divine, allowing the divine to work through us. But we also grow ourselves. We grow into a greater expression of that which is. We release our human side, release our fears, release our inhibitions and anxieties, and allow spirit to work through us here to bring about heaven on earth. That's a big proposition. I recognize that. I, for one, have had challenges myself letting go of the ego and allowing spirit to work through me. But when it has happened, it has been miraculous. The last time I spoke, I mentioned to you about that time I helped a young woman in need and how I chose to allow spirit to flow through me, and the tremendous expansion of consciousness that came along with that, and the uplifting feeling of joy, practically ecstasy of being able to do spirit's good in that moment in time. This is something that I've been trying to get back to ever since, but the ego mind is strong. If you stop and you think about it, we live in a world in which the ability to make choices and to direct our lives is something that we have drummed into us almost from birth. You know, as children, we wanted to be able to control our environment. We wanted to be able to get the things we needed. As teenagers, we wanted to have control over our choice of foods and choice of music and choice of clothing and friends. And even as adults, we exert control. In fact, we strongly prize our ability to make the choices about our jobs, our partners, and how we live our lives. It's reinforced by our culture. You'll see it in the newspapers and in television and in music and the movies, and all the conversation is about, you know, making the choices to buy this or eat that or go there. There are these ability to drive our own lives to be essentially self-sufficient and uh, and large and in charge is something that is pervasive throughout the Western world. Rarely do we hear about the value, the joy of letting go of control, allowing things to happen, sitting in the silence and being still, letting spirit speak to us. Actually, we're a rather rough and noisy civilization indeed. But if we think about it, if we step back from that need to be in charge, that need to have control, that need to make all the decisions, something sublime actually happens. Something wonderful actually happens. And that is we become a channel for spirit. We become a vehicle for the good to come through us and as us. Doing so can be scary. doing so can raise all sorts of fears. At first, feel fear of uh, failure, fear of ridicule, fear uh, of loss of our own abilities to do things. And so we have to face those fears. Another thing we do quite a bit within the Centers for Spiritual Living is look at how can we overcome fear through our faith in something bigger than ourselves, our faith in the ability of God to work miracles in our presence. And when we are able to do that, anything could happen. I have a short story to tell you about fear, and a piece of wisdom I literally stumbled upon in my very first day as an Army officer. I was just finished the officer candidate school training at Fort Benning, Georgia, and literally picked up my duffel bag and walked across the street to report to the Army parachute school, which was my first bit of schooling there at Fort Benning besides the OCS. And sure enough, it was towards the end of the day, and the senior sergeant in charge asked me to step into his office and said, "Congratulations, Lieutenant. You are the freshest face that the Army has had, and you are now the officer of the evening." And I didn't know what he meant. He said, "Oh, well, you will be the one who is in charge while the captain and I go home. You will have to take care of whatever problems come up. And so you're welcome to sit here. We do ask that you walk around and let people know you are present for duty because you're on duty. And if there's a challenge, give me a call. But Lieutenant, don't call me after 9 o'clock." And so, I had my first leadership challenge, my first leadership opportunity. And so I spent the evening walking through the barracks, talking with folks, letting them know who I was and the fact that there was an officer in their presence and that they should watch themselves. So there was no trouble whatsoever. When I got back to the place where I was planning to spend the rest of the evening, there was a very young recruit there. This fella could be no more than 17 or 18 years old. And this was his first training within the Army. And he said, "Lieutenant, I have a problem." Well, what could it be? "I want to go home." And so a thought went to my mind, you just got here. Why would you want to go home? And so I asked, what's behind it? "I'm afraid." He said, "Excuse me?" I answered, "Well, what are you afraid of?" "Jumping out of airplanes. You can get killed doing that." And I had to agree. Yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. It's a dangerous thing to do. I've never done it before. And so I'm afraid. I'm afraid, and I want to go home. And I had the sense that not only did he need reassurance, but a decision to go home at this point, pardon the phrase, with his tail between his legs, would be with him for the rest of his life. And so I paused for a minute and I looked him in the eye and I said, "I understand. I'm afraid too." He was shocked by that thought because he was looking up to me as an officer, and I had just told him that I was afraid. And I said to him, "It's all right to be afraid. This is dangerous. But if you stop and think about it, There have been people going through this school for 30 years, and no one has ever died. I think that they do a good job in telling us what to do. Even in an emergency, we know what to do. And so, yeah, I'm afraid, but I'm going to go through it. How about you? And he paused and looked at me and said, if you'll do it, I'll do it too. And said, all right, that's good to know. It's okay to be afraid. But courage is that thing that you do something you're afraid of, even though you're afraid, because you have to do it or you want to do it so badly. And so you have courage by staying. And he sat up kind of proud with that and said, no, all right. Thank you very much for your time. And he saluted and walked out. Well, the school went on for 3 weeks, and they were very challenging, physically challenging. You don't get to jump out of an airplane day one. You have lots of training on the ground about your equipment and how it works. And then you get to hang from a rope from a height of 10 or 20 feet and you get let go, and then you have to do the right rolling. And then you get lifted up by a cable and dropped from a height of about 80 feet. It's a bit like that Coney Island ride, if you've ever seen the pictures of that, being lifted up and then dropped, only you're on it alone. And then again, there are people down below watching you, ready to help you if you need it. But most folks, when they land and roll, just like we were taught, and walk away. And then comes the jumping out of planes in the third week. And that was quite the experience. The excitement of it all was exhilarating. Standing in the door, what they call it, standing in the door and then jumping out was, there's no describing the excitement that goes with that, especially when you're 25 and you're going to rule the world. And then the silence as the plane flies off and you're hanging in the sky, slowly descending with others all around you. And the tendency is to look around because you've never been in anything like that before, until the people down on the ground, especially the ones with the bullhorn, say, hey, you, get ready to land. And at which point you roll and get out of the way of others. So at the end of 3 weeks, all of us who finished the jump successfully were lined up to get our shiny silver parachute pins. And as that was happening, you can guess who came up to me, that young troop from day one, who looked me in the eye and said, you did it, sir. Congratulations. And saluted me and said, may I shake your hand? You bet I did. You bet I did. And so this idea of courage, this idea of doing what you might even fear, because this is what you want, is something that I want to leave with you, that it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to have resistance. But when you go through, nonetheless, have the spiritual courage, it brings forth great rewards. Michael Bethwick had something else to share about visioning that I wanted to share with you here. It was about the connection between visioning and transformation. As he says, visioning is always for self-transformation. It's a shift of our perception of reality. And this goes on, may I add, and on forever. We just become bigger in bigger places for it to express through. And that's so true. As we allow spirit to work within us and as us, you'll feel yourself grow, feel conscious expanding, feel and actually begin to lose the fear of the experience, because the delight that comes with being that close to the infinite one is just too good to be true. And there is a great new, I say new, a young author, anyone at least younger than I am, whose name you may not know. And her name is Gabrielle Bernstein. And she has written many books already at her young age about this kind of experience. And in her book, The Universe Has Your Back, she talks about the 5 steps to spiritual surrender, this letting go. And in the first step, take your hands off the wheel. Let go of the need for control with prayer. To go to spirit in prayer for the strength to do so, to literally take your hands off of the controls. Second step is to focus on what's thriving in our lives. And what she means by that is when we pay attention to what is happening for the good, then we can attract yet more of the good. That the focus on those positive things have the effect of making what may be not as good in our lives less important. So the third step is to recognize that obstacles in our way, they're actually spiritual detours in the right direction. Oftentimes when we try to take action as individuals, we bump up against things that keep us from achieving our goal. According to Gabrielle, this actually is the spirit assisting us by helping us to find the right direction. And so we take the perspective that these obstacles are placed in our way to help us, that there's a lesson to be learned, then having obstacles is not so bad. And we find our divinely inspired way. The fourth step is ask the universe for a sign and then be alert to it when it comes. We all have had things that we consider to be signs when we are in need of support from above. And so having this ability to ask for assistance is always something to consider. And then lastly, when you think you've surrendered, guess what? You need to surrender more, because as Reverend Beck said, it goes on and on. This growth, this connection is something that you will find is never done, but always fulfilling. And so I'm just wanting to share that this connection with the divine is not something you should fear, but something you should welcome. And that just by letting go of all of those things that hold you back, the biggest of which is very likely to be the need of the ego to be in charge, be led to a place that you never knew you could achieve. Let's take that to prayer. I know that this lesson of letting go is so very challenging. I know that there is one force, one God, one creative spirit, in which I have life and my individual mind, my individual personality, and that it is all good. It is all divinely guided. And I know that when I release my need, my need for management, for definition, for controlling what happens next, that I am supported by the creator of the universe. I know that the spirit works in front of me, clearing my way. I know the spirit is behind me, protecting my back. I know the spirit is beside me, uplifting and supporting. And so I release that fear. I release all concerns. I release anything that would hold me back and offer myself this day to be the voice and the hands of a spirit. I know this is as it should be, that when we do so, spirit works in marvelous, magnificent ways, in ways that are so much bigger than this guy called Rick could ever do alone. And so thank you, thank you, thank you, God, for this knowing, for this being, and this allowing. I release my fear. I release any worry. How could I have ever been worried? And I am so blessed. Releasing my word into the law. I know it's already here and now. It cannot be otherwise. It is as it should be. Blessed by God, divinely guided. I release and let go. And so it is. So it is. Thank you. I'd like to invite Colleen to take us back. Colleen, you are muted.
I knew that. Okay. I'm so calm and peaceful. I'm having a little challenge revving up for this lively chorus that I think you will all recognize. So I'm going to call out my invisible drummer and invite you, you'll recognize this, to sing along. I release and I let go. I let spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let spirit run my life, and my heart is open Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I let release and I let go. Let the spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am peace, I let go. Let the spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Okay. Good job.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Colleen. That was wonderful. Yes, that was a flashback for me there. Delightful. Well, we've arrived at the time in our service when we accept tithes and offerings. And what I would like us all to do is to read along in our prosperity affirmation. I gratefully and joyfully share my offering, which flows from God, my infinite source. My gift blesses this center and all who are guided, healed, and empowered by its activities. All I share with life returns to me, blessed and multiplied. We know that the Spirit works through us. And one of the ways that it does so is by having us provide support for the blessings of the world. And one of those blessings is the Center for Spiritual Living Tahoe-Truckee, because this center provides the spiritual food that nourishes our soul. And so we encourage you to support as you can by donating generously. Ways to do that, of course, is through the monthly tithe, or you can send it by credit card on our webpage. There's a PayPal button that you can use, as well as sending a check back to the center and PO Box 6, Carnelian Bay. Colleen is going to be leading us in the song "I Am So Blessed," and I'm so grateful for that. Thank you.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Thank you, Colleen. We have lots of announcements today, and I want to make sure that I can get through them all. To make sure that you recall that we do record our services each Sunday, and that you can go back and see a replay at any time. We invite you also to have friends and family join us here on Sunday via Zoom, or to check out our services after. We have them all now on our YouTube channel, and the links to those videos are on our website. There's also on Facebook, and there's also an Instagram. That'll get you to the CSL Tahoe-Truckee YouTube channel. And Next Sunday, Reverend Pam will be back, starting a new month in April. The new theme is Stepping into the Unknown. And it should be an exciting time. Our music will be provided by Callie Hansen, and Shirley Clark will be our practitioner. This, as you no doubt recall, is Easter Sunday next week. So join us. Something I need to point out happening later today at 4 p.m. Pacific time is the Center for Spiritual Living National International Women's History Month celebration. That will be provided via Zoom with music and dance and song and readings. It's a celebration of the divine feminine within each and every one of us. There's a special invitation associated with this to show the diversity of our garb. We're being invited to attend this using or wearing some colors of pink, purple, and silver. And I suspect that during the event itself, the meanings of these colors will be highlighted. Today at 4 o'clock. Coming up on Wednesday is the Wednesday night gathering. Last week we spoke about Gabrielle Bernstein and all of the work that she is doing as a member of Generation X to spread the word of New Thought. But this Wednesday, we'll be speaking about the metaphysical meaning of Easter. Now, we know that many of the sacred texts have more than one level of meaning within them. And in the Christian Bible, there are many stories that can be read either literally or as a representation of something else again. And both may be true simultaneously. We'll be looking at the metaphysical implications of Jesus and his passion, his death, and his resurrection on Easter Sunday. So I invite you to be part of that and to share your thoughts. It's at 7 o'clock. This is something that we've spoken about for several weeks now. I just want to remind all that there is a family fun day and Easter egg hunt happening next Saturday, April 3rd, starting at 1 p.m. And forgive me, that should end at 3. We'll have lots of activities for the kids and for something for adults too. So encourage you to come by. Also next Sunday, we're going to have a little fun at service. And we want to invite you to bring out your Easter bonnets. And gentlemen, you're welcome to wear your top hats because we're going to have a virtual Easter parade during the moments after service is done. And so ladies, have those bonnets at the ready for a little bit of fun. I think there'll be some music accompaniment to that too, just perhaps. As you know, we got a lot happening at our center. Almost every single day of the week, there's something going on. And I want to say thank you to our practitioners for the meditation that they put on every Monday and Tuesday morning, starting at 8:30. What a great way to start your day. Wednesdays is the Wednesday gathering I've mentioned. And then on Thursdays, 2 things, in fact. Tai Chi that Chris Wichiter puts on each Thursday afternoon at 3:30. And then meditation by Mary McEnany and Penny Scholler on Thursday evenings. There is an exercise warm-up at 4:30 associated with that. So I encourage you to check that out. This coming Friday, Sue Piper will be leading book study, A Course of Love. And then the next session of book study, Letting Go by David Hawkins, will be on April 16th. And so with that, I want to just say thank you very much for being with us today. We'll be ending, oh, forgive me, I got ahead of myself. I want to say thank you to our practitioners. to Nancy O'Neill, who's our practitioner of the day, as well as to Shirley Clark, who's there at home with Karen, and Michael, who is soon to be a practitioner. He'll be joining us in that group. As you know, our ministers are also practitioners. So myself and Reverend Pam are available to you anytime you have a need or concern. Carol Dalbon is sitting down there quietly. Carol, you almost slipped my attention, forgive me. Thank you for being there as well.
And Reverend Maggie.
Reverend Maggie, oh my goodness, welcome. I didn't see you. We are all available to pray with you immediately after service if you like. We can take you and a practitioner and have a private space, or call us during the week. We'll be happy to spend time with you and to deal with whatever you may feel challenged by. And so, checking my list of to-dos, I think I've checked all the boxes here. And so, yeah, Reverend Pam giving me the thumbs up. Thank you so much. We'll be finishing up with our affirmation and then a closing song led by Chris Law, peace song. So please read along with me. I relax and behold God's grace unfolding as my life. And so it is. And now for Chris Law.
Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be with God as creator. Family, all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begin with me. Let this be the moments now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be with God as creator. Family are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begin with me. Let this be the moments now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me.
Feel free to unmute and let's have some quality time.